beautiful.
That was amazing. If any of you guys don't know, it's from Interstellar. One of the probably best movies of all time. Definitely the best space movie, in my opinion. Probably Sam's too. But no, yeah, that's what we're here to talk about today. Like, markets down bad. What is Ethereum at?
1100 something.
Okay, like SPY's at 380. Not a fun day to be investing. So we're here to enlighten the mood. And which way are we going today?
We're going up.
Where are we going?
We're going to space.
All right, let's go. We're going to space today, and we're going to talk about some good in the future, because there's a lot of bad right now and a lot of negativity, but who knows? Everyone's going to forget about it years from now. So we're going to talk about space and how important it is, and what a bunch of people are doing, like CEOs and entrepreneurs are doing to take steps to go to space. So, well, let's think about it. The first time, when was the last time we were on the moon? Like, what, 1972 was Apollo 17?
How'd you know that?
I don't know. I'm just a wizard, I guess. I just have these notes on the top of my head. No, but yeah, like so USSR, they launched Sputnik like in 1957, and then 12 years later we made it to the moon. And that's a short time. Like 12 years, think about it back then, like that's a really short amount of time. And one of the reasons that they were so fast was because like it was the space race, and like everyone, there was this like competition between nations on like who's the best nation and who's the most advanced. USA and was top. Japan was up there. Like all these like really highly developed nations like that are still thriving today. Were fighting to get to space, and finally, who made it? Neil Armstrong and USA took the lead to get the first man on the moon, which I think was crazy. I wish I was alive to see that. But yeah, and then slowly it just after the space after we landed on the moon, just accomplishments, they just stopped. Like we didn't. It was like, okay, we made it to the moon, and now it's over. And what else are we gonna do?
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, Apollo 17. That's the last time we've been to the moon, which is like December 1972, and it's. I mean, half of that is like, we made it to the moon. Whatever we did, we got some samples. We put a footprint on the moon, put a flag, and then like there's not that much else to do without going magnitudes of miles, light years farther. And it was just so expensive. This, not to mention back then we're using the big Saturn rockets and space shuttles. Like those things are hundreds of billions of dollars, and it just wasn't sustainable when the whole mission was to get to the moon, and we did that.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are like talking about how like the moon is like a resource. It's not just like a big rock in the sky, and that's like a thing right now, like with Elon Musk and like Jeff Bezos, like they're going head to head right now. It seems like it's not like super competitive, but like they have Blue Origin by Jeff Bezos, and then Elon Musk has SpaceX, and like Blue Origin is taking like this different route to like space infrastructure, and he's not more like Jeff Bezos does not talk about like life on Mars at all. He's talking about like international like space travel, like tourism, maybe a few like hotels up there. I know some companies are doing. And he's thinking like short term, and what a quote that he said, I'll quote Jeff Bezos here: "We're going to build a road to space so that our kids and their kids can build the future, and we need to do that. We need to do that to solve the problems here on Earth." And I mean, it doesn't seem like he's like in that big of a rush to get to space.
Mm-hmm.
He's more like grandkids maybe.
Yeah, and it's interesting because last summer the head-to-head thing was between Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin, because they were like Virgin Galactic was racing to get Richard Branson up on his little space tour, and Blue Origin was trying to get Jeff Bezos up there, and now Virgin Galactic is in the dumps, I guess. Who was it? Chamath. He was one of the big investors. He took them public through the SPAC. He left, and I haven't really kept up to date with them, but it seems like they're just not doing much anymore.
Yeah, it seemed like he was just like, okay, let me build a business. This is like Richard Branson. He's like, okay, I want to go to space. What's the best way I can go to space? I'm going to build a business, and then I'm going to write off all my expenses on it so I don't have to pay tax on it, and maybe I might make a little profit, and if not, I don't, and then I still get to go to space. I don't know. That's just the way I saw it. It was like sort of like a pump and dump scheme for his own benefit.
There were definitely a lot of pumping up schemes back in SPAC land.
Yeah.
SPAC era.
You need to learn more about SPACs, you can check them out in our other episodes on how to bring companies public. No, but my uncle I was talking to my uncle actually a couple months ago, and he's actually a rocket engineer for, I forget, it's something at the military. I don't want to say which branch it is because I don't know off the top of my head. But he builds rockets, and he actually got like offers from Blue Origin, and he got offers from SpaceX. And this was his opinion. I'll just try to summarize it. He doesn't see Elon Musk's vision right now, and he sides more with Blue Origin, which was who he had the interview with, and he got the offer, but unfortunately didn't take it. And he basically was saying like Elon Musk is thinking too long. Like he's thinking that like it's unreachable to just go straight to Mars. Like it doesn't make sense as a society for us to just leave so far away from Earth without any infrastructure in the Earth, and that you should like, I don't know if this is what Jeff Bezos believed, but my uncle was talking about like the moon is literally a whole nother planet, and there's so many resources on the moon, and we should use the moon as like a station, and we should develop a station up in the moon where we can take off rockets from and like build rockets there. Because think about the gravity of the moon compared to the gravity of Earth and the atmosphere, and like it's going to be way more expensive for you to launch from Earth than it is to launch from the moon. And so he was basically saying like, okay, Blue Origin, they're thinking long term, and Elon Musk is just thinking, okay, eyes on the prize, all I want to think about is Mars. He's not thinking about like how we can actually build a system where it's a lot more efficient and cheaper to go from Earth to Mars eventually. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think Elon Musk is jumping ahead of himself, or?
I mean, what he said definitely makes sense, because not only would it be so much cheaper launching from the moon, it's just so much safer. I mean, even like back in the space shuttle era, and you see that with Elon's rockets too, because there's so much gravity, it's just so much harder, and there's so many more crashes, and that's why like Columbia just blew up.
Yeah, it's a good point, and yeah, it's a lot safer. And then if we ship, we don't have to like ship back and forth. If we ship the supplies on Mars, or not on Mars, excuse me, on the moon, and then we just get a station where we can set off and take off from there, we don't have to worry about like finding the right path to Mars, or like worried about the moon. And I know there's like ways that people are going to use the moon, like to, I'm not an astrophysicist,
Yeah.
but like people launch off of Earth and then use moon as like a catapult. And like obviously in movies like Interstellar, they did that like with the black hole and stuff. So I'll be interested to see like how it evolves.
Yeah,
I
think it was Apollo 13. It was either 11 or 13, but they did the exact same thing, I believe. Great movie based on the actual Apollo mission. When it happened, they like ran out of fuel or something, and they had to slingshot around
Right.
the moon, I think it was.
And I mean the whole reason, right, was like why, like when we think about like back in 1969, it was so expensive, right? And like what are the prices today? Like they're getting a lot better, right?
Mm-hmm. It's actually wild. We found this pretty cool graphic right here. It's just showing how much cheaper it's gotten. Like back in 1960, right? You had your space shuttles. Well, that was until like 1980ish. But back in 1960s, 70s, 80s, you had like the Saturn rockets and the space shuttles. The per kilogram cost anywhere from $5,000 to over $51,000, right? Which is just insane. And you're talking about a vehicle, if you want to call it, that weighs like tens, maybe hundreds of millions of kilograms. So like $100 billion shuttle right there. And then now, the Falcon rockets that Elon Musk is building at SpaceX, they cost under $2,000 a kilogram. So it's wild, and it's getting cheaper fast. Like it's not like it's just we're stuck. The Starship one that they're building, it's supposed to be only $200 per kilogram.
Yeah.
Which is just wild.
That's awesome, and I think that's how like we get to the point where like commercial like citizens, and it's like commercial space flight, where if it's $100 billion to build a rocket, no average citizen is going to go to space. Like it's not going to happen if it's that price. And also another point like to point out, because this is a financial podcast. Mm-hmm. Think about inflation. Like a $3,200 back then compared to $3,200 in 2022, when we know inflation is going insane right now, and like the difference, just add that on top of the chart. It's just insane to think like, okay, we're really like, Elon Musk is really doing a good job, and whoever's working at NASA, not just all credit to Elon, but he's doing a good job. And he thought, I don't know if he was the one that thought of the idea, but he's doing reusable rockets. And like back in the days with like Saturn and the space shuttle, it was like, okay, you build this big rocket and you go on this journey, and then you have to scrap everything that you built. And that's why it was so expensive, because you couldn't reuse it. But Elon Musk is taking this approach where it's like, okay, I'm going to build this Starship, and I'm going to be able to use it back and forth from Earth to Mars or Earth to the moon, and it'll dramatically reduce the cost, because once you build the ship, then you don't have to build it again as long as it doesn't get damaged, and you can just keep using it, and you have to pay for fuel and probably a few maintenance things. I'm sure there's a lot of cost to replace a rocket from ride to ride, but I think it's awesome that he's doing that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just going to keep getting cheaper, which is what they say, like the two of the qualities of a sector that's being innovated is like reducing costs and increasing the longevity of the product.
Right.
Which is how is we're going in a good direction.
We're going in a good direction. I hope we keep going in a good direction, and maybe we might. Who knows? We might end up on Mars in 2029. I know Elon just tweeted like in March. There was like a graphic that it was a SpaceX account, and they tweeted like, okay, it was like a picture of when we first landed on the moon, and it was like 1969 or whatever, and then it had Mars, and it had like these cool space suits and like a little like dome in the background, and it was like 20, and then it had like two blanks, and Elon Musk replied to the tweet and said 2029. So I guess that's his prediction. I don't know. Do you think it's soon? Do you think it's...
I don't know. I think as long as it's in my lifetime, I'll be satisfied. I just think it'll be so cool to see that happen. And if I die and I haven't been to space, going to Mars might be a stretch, but I just want to go to space so badly.
Yeah.
I think it would just be...
Yeah,
I couldn't even describe it.
I'm pretty confident that if we wanted to go to Mars in our lifetime, I feel like we could, because like our lifespan of humans is just growing exponentially. We're only 20. Who knows what the technology is going to be like when we're 60 even, and we're probably going to be like we're 40 or 30 when we're 60. So,
well, the two things I'd be worried about are safety and cost. Like, I'm not gonna try and go to Mars if there's like a 90% chance that I die.
Yeah, I'm not taking the first ticket. That's for sure. I'm avoiding that at all costs. But it'll be weird, like, to see, like, I don't know. Elon Musk, he talks about it a lot, and like a lot of people like theorize about like what life would be like on Mars. But I guess you just like create like a whole new society. Like you start with a small little town with a few houses and food, and then you soon branch out. More people come. Then you keep building a city, and then after a city, you build another city that's further away, and it's just a whole infrastructure.
That would be so cool,
dude. That would be nuts. Like, especially if we can like. That's the big thing like right now, because it takes like 7 years to get to Mars, like from Earth, because it's so far. But like if we can increase the time, then you could literally like vacation to Mars. Like that, I guarantee you that's gonna happen like some point in history. But obviously, we have no idea when. But like, there's going to be a point where people are going to be able to travel to Earth in a month or a year, maybe even shorter, and come back and like go back and forth. So I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and not to mention, in all the movies you see like the Cryosleep, where you can just hop in a chamber and you don't even age while you're in flight to wherever. So once we figure that out, that's when the opportunities really become endless.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't know.
I'm sure it's possible. I just don't know if it's possible in the next 100 years or 500 years.
Yeah, I mean, but it makes sense though, because like if sleep is the more you sleep, the less you age. Like it's just correlation, like highly correlated. So like it makes sense if you can trick your body into going to sleep forever, and you cryotherapy your skin, and you don't age and you don't get wrinkles, then who knows? It might happen. But hopefully I'll be around for that. That would be nuts if we could go to bed and wake up in 50 years.
Yeah. And I mean, for decades now, the scientists have been looking outside our solar system, right? Because obviously we know the planets in our solar system. We know which ones might be habitable, specifically Mars. But there's lots of gigantic telescopes out there that are just searching for new inhabitable places, right? And in 1999, they discovered this star with this telescope called Trappist, right? And they named it after it. It's called the Trappist-1 system. And there's 7 planets there.
Okay. 7
inhabitable planets. And
wait, they know that the planets are inhabitable in that solar system?
They assume they are.
Guessing, okay.
Because they're Earth-sized planets. It's a healthy ecosystem with a star, and they identified like a habitable zone there, where 3 of these planets are likely to hold water.
Okay.
So,
water is life.
Keep in mind, this is 40 light years away. So
just like a bus ride, right?
Yeah. So obviously not opportune, but... And then another one, just 2 years ago, TOI 700D, right? Uh, sorry, I just looked and saw this little speaker note. TOI 700D, right? They made 2 years ago. This one was 100 light years away, and they found this one with another telescope. And this one actually looks really promising. It's like, I think the days are like, it's like 37-day orbit or whatever, and it gets 86% of the sunlight that Earth does, and they identified like rocks and hydrogen, which means likely water. So you never know.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know. I feel like if we get to the point where we are like going to another planet that's like supposedly inhabitable, I feel like our bodies after that point are going to be so adjusted to living in space, and it's not going to matter like how long the days are or how long the nights are, personally, because like we're going to have temperature, we're going to have like, if we get to that point, we're going to have like temperature figured out, we're going to have oxygen figured out, and then obviously you can just cover yourself if you need to sleep. So like I don't see that being a big problem, like as far as like if a planet is like, it has to be the same length as like Earth is, like I don't know, I feel like that's kind of irrelevant. But
yeah, and the thing with the second one, the TOI 700, I mean, what a nice name, but the thing with that one is the way it orbits the star, it doesn't rotate about its axis. So the same half of the planet is constantly in sunlight, and the other half is constantly in the dark.
Yeah, that's weird.
Which that would be pretty crazy.
And you like travel across to the other side of the planet if you want to go to bed, and then it's just like beds on one side and then like life on the other side.
That'd be cool.
That would be pretty sick. But who knows? Maybe someone's already living in that planet right now, right?
Yeah.
Aliens. Do you believe in aliens? Do you think there's like some? I don't know. Let me rephrase my question. Do you think there's a life form out there that's near the intelligence of humans? Because obviously, I mean, you could say there's bacteria and whatnot, but do you think like there's a developed?
But like the first one you asked, like, do you believe in aliens? Like I hear people saying all the time. I don't know if it's like a belief. Like, do I believe in aliens? Do I think there's probably something else living in our universe? Definitely. Near our intelligence, maybe not. Near the intelligence of, I don't know, a squirrel? Sure. I don't know, because, I mean, humans are just so intelligent. I don't know. I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah. Maybe we'll find 3-headed squirrels on that TOI 700 planet.
I would not be going there.
No, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Just from like what we know about like evolution and like all like the chances that we evolve to who we are like as humans, like our planet and everything, like the chances that we made it to this point in our evolution period, it's so rare, and like I don't know. I would have to see it to believe it. I don't really have an opinion, really. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like another life form, but the fact that like there's another life form out there, I don't know. This just comes back to like faith, and like I don't know. I don't understand what would be the purpose, you know?
I just can't understand, like, the universe is so infinitely big. Like, we do not understand how big it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't end, right? And if there was not a single other living thing out there, I would just be
There's got to be another living thing for sure.
And if there wasn't
developed,
then you just know, like, it would just be so cool. Like the next, I don't know. I don't remember how long they say until our sun explodes, but like humans just go and explore the whole universe, and imagine like I don't even know what a good estimate would be, like 10,000 years from now we're living on like 10 different solar systems.
And you know what's crazy is like if we're looking at this star or whatever, the solar system 40 light years away, like I'm pretty like we're looking at it in the past. So like that's something that you have to like even if there's an alien species out there that has the capability of having a telescope and looking at us, they're not seeing us from a period where we are now. They're not seeing the development. They're not seeing all the lights on the planet. They're probably looking at us like when the dinosaurs were here, and they just see a big Earth and there's no like signal. So they might be thinking the same exact thing that we're thinking, looking at a planet in Trappist 1 system.
Yeah, and the thing with that is there could be a way to look at it in like present time, but you have to make a telescope because you're looking at light, right? The light being reflected back, and you can't make a telescope that somehow looks faster than the speed of light. But like maybe one day we figure out a way around that, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, but we'll see. Who knows? And obviously there's a bunch of investing. I don't know right now. You might not want to hop into the space. It's super far. Like all this stuff is super outdated, and it's really just like a gamble if you're throwing money at it right now. As far as like outside of Earth, but make sure there's a few ETFs and stuff. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, and not only is it so far, like, it's just like it's so far until like some of the stuff even becomes relevant or like commonplace,
Right.
which means it's even farther until any company doing this becomes even remotely profitable or worth investing in.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite companies you're looking at?
I mean, I'm not like invested in any specific space companies. I like following. I mean, like Lockheed Martin, Iridium, Maxar Technologies, and then I mean there are like space ETFs,
Yeah.
UFO, and then ARK has the ARKX ETF. But I mean, like I said, it's like it's so scary investing in something like this right
Yeah.
now. Like if this really does take off to the magnitude that I believe it will, 20 years from now you will still be like you'll have so much time ahead of you to really profit off of it, and you'll have,
Yeah.
the knowledge and to know actually what you should be investing in, opposed to right now you're just like making a guess like
Yeah.
maybe 20 years from now this company will have a house on Mars. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I feel like there's a lot more sure bets out there, like even just the metaverse, even his like, I mean, it seems like super outdated, but you'd be better off betting on the metaverse than you would on space as far as timeline wise. So it's always good just to make sure you know that this is really far-fetched idea right now. But who knows, if you're 20 years from now and they're making a lot of progress and we're sending people to Mars, then you might need to start looking at it, because that's when it's really going to start to grow, and like companies from Earth will really profit off of like space travel, because that's a whole nother industry and sector like in itself. Like it's going to change everything, like how money is processed and everything.
Yeah, and that's another one of those times where like an actively managed ETF seems like it'd be a good bet, because they can cycle in and out of the stocks that just come and go.
For sure.
But even then, I'm just not like in any rush,
Yeah.
because I feel like 10 years from now,
Yeah.
this ETF is going to be at the same spot, if not lower.
Yeah, the compound interest is just not going to be there. If you're investing now, you might want to wait a little bit, and then you might get a little more once it matures a little bit.
But I don't know. We'll see.
We will see.
Just like we can see some space movies,
Oh.
right?
Dude, tell me some space movies. I'm
Dude,
excited.
Okay. Interstellar. If you have not seen this movie, I want you to drop everything you're doing after you give us a 5-star review on Spotify, or give us a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe. I want you to go and watch this movie right now. I've seen this like 20 times. This is my favorite movie of all time, and it's not even close, okay? It is so good. The soundtrack literally will like change your life.
That was our intro, by the way.
Yeah. It's such an amazing story by the best director of all time, in my opinion, Christopher Nolan. And it's so amazing. The cinematography is crazy. You have to see it.
And it really makes you think too. It's not just like a movie that you're just like, you watch and you're like, oh, that was a good movie. You're like, wait a second, is this real? Like, could this actually be true? And like, you just gotta watch the movie. You really gotta experience it, because it's like it changes your perspective on like what space could be, and it's not just like space,
Yeah, and I mean, there's all kinds of space movies, of course. Some good, some bad, and I personally, I'm a big fan of a lot of these. But The Martian, another great one. Matt Damon goes to Mars. Gravity, a really good one. 2001: A Space Odyssey, classic. And then like Hidden Figures, Apollo 11, Apollo 13 are all based on like true stories. So you should listen or go watch those as well.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what I like? This isn't really a space movie. This is sort of a spoof, like little comedy movie. Paul, it's like an alien, and he comes in and he can like speak English, and like it's just like a comedy movie. I think it's rated R, so make sure if you're too young, don't watch that if you're under 18. But whatever. And yeah, it's a super funny movie. I think it was also worth watching too. After Interstellar, for sure, and The Martian is super good too. But yeah, thanks for watching. We're not financial advisors. We might hold positions in the securities discussed. I don't know if we talked about money. But yeah, do your own research, watch YouTube, and leave a review if you enjoyed the podcast.